If you are from a non-CS background and you want to get into AI or ML jobs, then this might be the most important video you watch about DSA. For you, DSA is probably the number one thing messing with your head right now. On one side, people are telling you, grind DSA like software engineer or you will never touch a good ML job. On the other side, people are saying DSA is overhyped, just focus on ML, math and projects. Your friends are telling you the different stories. He cracked an ML job with zero DSA. She rejected three offers because she only wanted FANG and solve 700 lead code problems. And you are stuck in the middle thinking what is actually right for someone like me with my background, my skill, and my goals. This video is my honest attempt to kill that confusion using data. Over the last few months, I have gone deep into this question. I have read through interview experiences, Reddit and LinkedIn threads, and real job descriptions, specifically looking at how much DSA different companies actually ask for in different AI or ML roles. And in this one video, I am going to give you that entire map compressed and clean. In the next few minutes, you will see role by role reality how DSA is treated for ML engineers, data scientists, AI researchers, data engineers, and MLOps roles. And then company by company reality how the expectation change between farm style big tech, Indian product companies, service MNCs, and startups. And then one clear framework made for non-CS and average DSA students when DSA is non-negotiable, when basic is enough, and when you should stop obsessing about it and move your energy to ML projects or research instead. If you stay with me till the end, you won't just hear DSA is important or DSA is useless. You will know very precisely from my dream role and my target companies, this is exactly how much DSA I need and this is what matters more. So hello everyone, I am Akash Gupta. This is Concepts of AI and my whole goal is to help non-CS and confused students understand the real industry side of AI careers without hype. Let us start with the most hyped role, machine learning engineer. For machine learning engineer roles, DSA sits in that uncomfortable but very real zone of medium to heavy importance, and the exact level depends heavily on the company. Across multiple interview reports and discussions, one pattern is very clear for most entry level ML engineer positions. There is at least one proper DSA coding round, often early in the process, that works as a filter. If you cannot clear this, it doesn't matter how good your projects are because you simply do not reach the ML or system design rounds. The types of problems you can expect here are not just toy exercises. They include standard but non-trivial patterns such as arrays and hash maps, two pointers, sliding window, and then structured data problems on trees and graphs using BFS and DFS. Many candidates also report medium level dynamic programming questions such as knapsack like problems, sequence problems, or partitioning type questions. For big tech ML engineer roles specifically, candidates often describe the interview loop as almost identical to software engineer loops, with two or more rounds that are pure lead code style DSA, followed by separate rounds on ML concepts, system design for ML, and applied case studies. In some cases, the second DSA round is deliberately harder, with deeper dynamic programming or graph problems or system optimization style algorithm questions. So, in simple terms, for ML engineer roles at big tech and very engineering focused product teams, DSA and ML are co equal in the interview process. DSA is not optional there. At many Indian product companies and startups, there is usually one online coding or DSA screen, and if you clear that, later rounds lean more on your ML knowledge, your projects, and your ability to think about systems. The key point is this: DSA is often the gatekeeper. Once you clear the gate, decisions tend to depend much more on your ML projects, your ability to think about production systems, and your practical experience, not on whether you solved 300 or 1000 lead code problems. Now, let us shift to the data scientist role because this is where a lot of myths get created. For data scientist roles, especially in India but also globally, the overall importance of DSA is typically basic to medium and almost always lighter than skills like statistics, ML intuition, SQL, and project work. Many candidates shared that in tens of data science interviews, they were almost never grind on deep DSA. Instead, they face simple coding questions involving loops, arrays, strings, or basic use of maps. Sometimes a quick time complexity question like what is the complexity of this loop? And then the bulk of the interview shifted to ML concepts, case studies, A/B testing, product metrics, and exploratory data analysis. Some product companies do add one light lead code, easy or medium problem, but it rarely goes into heavy dynamic programming or advanced graph problems for pure data science roles. So, compared to ML engineer, for data scientists, the core weight is on statistics, ML understanding, business sense, SQL, Python, and Pandas. DSA is usually there just enough to confirm that you can write clean basic code and understand time complexity, not to test you as a competitive programmer. If your dream role is data scientist, your return on investment from grinding advanced DSA for months is usually much lower than investment that same effort into end-to-end ML projects, strong exploratory data analysis, and improving how you explain your analysis and models. Now let us talk about a researcher and research engineer roles, which many students romanticize without really understanding how the interview weight shifts. For pure AI researcher roles, especially in labs of research style teams, the importance of DSA is generally low, often just at a basic level. The main focus is on your mathematics background, especially linear algebra, probability, optimization, and your research profile. That means your publications, your research projects, and how deeply you can reason about models and algorithms. Interview guides for these roles tend to emphasize reading and discussing papers, deriving algorithms, or understanding proof cases, much more than implementing lead code style puzzles. On the other hand, AI research engineer roles, which mix research with production, sit somewhere in the middle here. You are still evaluated heavily for your understanding of models, training, and deployment, but you also need to write efficient code, implement training loops, vectorize operations, and sometimes even small optimizers or custom layers. So in these interviews, DSA might appear in form of basic, very basic to moderate algorithm questions or embedded inside ML oriented tasks. For example, they might ask you to implement an efficient mini batching pipeline or a simplified version of a recommendation system where you have to think about time and space complexity. So for this cluster roles, core AI research, math and research portfolio are far more important than DSA. For research engineers, you need enough DSA and algorithm maturity to write efficient code, but the biggest weight is still on model design, understanding of systems, and research like thinking. Now, let us look at data engineer and MLOps engineer roles, which sit closest to the infrastructure and pipeline sides of AI. For data engineers, the DSA expectation is usually basic to medium again, but I would say it is very, very, very low. But the heavier focus is on SQL, data model, and system design of data pipeline. You may get some standard coding questions on arrays, strings, or maps, which are everywhere, and occasionally basic trees or graphs to simulate things like job scheduling or data flows. But a lot of interviews lean more towards questions about joins, indexing, ETL design, or how you would architect a pipeline using Kafka, data warehouse, and so on. For MLOps roles, DSA is usually even less central. The attention shifts to CI/CD for ML, model deployment, monitoring, scaling, containerization, and orchestrating pipelines. You still need to be comfortable with basic coding and simple data structures, but deep lead code style preparation, or I would say medium, even medium lead code style preparation, is almost never the main filter, except in very engineering heavy teams. So for these roles like data engineer, system design, SQL, and distributed systems usually matter more than deep DSA, except when the role is basically a backend software engineer with a data flavor. For MLOps roles, infrastructure, DevOps skills, and pipeline design almost completely outweigh heavy DSA. So far, we have looked at roles, but the picture becomes much sharper when we combine that with company types. At big tech or FANG style companies, for ML engineer or AI engineer roles, DSA is heavy and very similar to standard software engineer loop. Multiple curated interview pages and candidate reports from 2023 to 2025 show two or more pure DSA rounds focusing on arrays, trees, graphs, and dynamic programming than later rounds on ML system design and theory. For data scientist roles in these companies, there is often a lighter coding round, usually basic DSA or simple problems, followed by heavy emphasis on statistics, ML, product sense, and case studies. For research roles, as we said earlier, DSA is typically just basic math and research completely dominate. In Indian product companies like Flipkart, Swiggy, Zomato, or Razorpay, ML engineer and data engineer roles usually expect basic to medium DSA combined with strong ML or data skills. Their interview processes often start with an online assessment, coding plus SQL with problem difficulty in the easy to medium range, and then move into tech rounds focused on ML concepts, recommendation or basic problems, experimentation, and system design. For pure SD roles in same companies, DSA can be much heavier. But for AI/ML oriented roles, they typically care more about whether you write good code and can solve real ML problems than about solving extremely hard lead code questions. And in service and MNC companies now, like TCS, Infosys, or Accenture, for data analytics or ML related roles, the pattern is even lighter on DSA. The screening stages tend to focus on aptitude tests, very simple coding tasks like loops and arrays, basic programming logic, and then on tools like Python, SQL, Excel, and simple models. Deep DSA grilling is rare here for typical DS and ML roles. Now, if you talk about startups are the most variable. Some engineering heavy or infra heavy startups essentially copy big tech style and use lead code like screening even for ML roles, especially if the role is close to ML platform or AI engineer in product that is highly technical. Many other ML first startups, however, are far more project focused. They might skip dedicated DSA rounds and instead give you take home projects, ask you to build small APIs or work through pair programming session on ML tasks and pipeline. In that world, DSA often shows up only as a basic sanity check to ensure that you can code decently. So now let us compress all of this into a simple mental model that you can actually use. So from all of this, the big takeaway for DSA is that for DSA for AIML is not a yes or no question. It is a spectrum that depends on your role and your target company type. The worst mistake you can make is copying someone else's preparation strategy without checking whether their bucket, their background, and their goals actually match yours. If you found this breakdown useful, here is what I want you to do in the comment section. Tell me three things: your target role, your target company type, and your current DSA comfort level on a scale from 1 to 10. If you want more videos that go this deep into the reality of AI careers, not just surface level advice, make sure you subscribe Concepts of AI and check out the other videos on projects, skills, and career paths. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.